Hi guys, I'm back. Who remembers what happened when we left off at the story? Who was chasing Mercy? Eugenia was chasing Mercy. Who came to help save them? The firemen. Does anybody remember their names? Ned and Lorenzo. Who's still stuck up in a bed that's sinking in a hole? Mr. and Mrs. Watson. Let's see what happens. Chapter 8. Ma'am, said Lorenzo to Baby, did you call the fire department? Oh dear, said Baby, I did not, but Eugenia may have called. Who is Eugenia? Asked Ned. Oh, my sister, said Baby. Is that her? Asked Lorenzo, the one chasing the pig? Yes, said Baby, that's her. Baby and Ned and Lorenzo watched Eugenia chasing Mercy through the yard. Lorenzo cleared his throat. What was the emergency exactly? Asked Ned. I thought I saw a monster in my bedroom window, said Baby, but it was not a monster. It was just Mercy. Mercy? Asked Lorenzo. The pig, said Baby. The pig who lives next door. I see, said Ned. Eugenia does not care for Mercy, said Baby. In her opinion, pigs belong on farms. Well, there's something to be said for that opinion, said Lorenzo. And Ned nodded. Help! It was a faraway voice. Help! Help! Help us! Did you hear that? Asked Ned. Somebody is in trouble. Let's go, said Lorenzo. Who do you think shouted for help? Where do you think they're going? Oh, let's turn the page and see if you're right. Chapter 9. Ned and Lorenzo ran toward the call for help. They went into the Watsons' house. Help! Ned and Lorenzo looked up. They saw a bed hanging out of a ceiling. They saw Mr. and Mrs. Watson holding onto the bed for dear life. We are saved, cried Mrs. Watson. Of course we are saved, said Mr. Watson. Mercy has alerted the fire department. Is that what happened? She is amazing, said Mrs. Watson. She is unbelievable. She is a porcine wonder, said Mr. Watson. Porcine is another word for pig. Ned and Lorenzo ran upstairs. They picked up Mr. and Mrs. Watson. The Watsons' bed sighed loudly and crashed all the way down to the floor. Boom! Mr. Watson looked at the hole where the bed used to be. I have always believed very firmly in the fire department, said Mr. Watson. As have I, said Mrs. Watson. As have I. From outside the Watsons' house came a squeal. Gotcha! Shouted Eugenia. Uh-oh, gotcha. What did she catch? Chapter 10. What do you think she caught? Oh, I don't know if I should show you. Are you ready for it? Ned and Lorenzo and Mr. and Mrs. Watson all ran outside. Eugenia was sitting on the ground. Her arms were wrapped around Mercy's neck. Her cheek was resting on Mercy's back, and Eugenia was breathing very loudly. Whose feet? Baby's, Mrs. Watson, and Mr. Watson. And how about down here? Whose boots? Ned and Lorenzo's. This pig, she said, was on my property. We prefer that you did not call her a pig, said Mr. Watson. We would prefer that you call her a porcine wonder, said Mrs. Watson. After all, she did save us. She's a hero. She's a pig, said Eugenia, and she started to cry. There, there, sister, said Baby. She bent over and patted Eugenia on the back. Mercy yawned. Oh, she was very tired. I guess that's it, said Ned. Yep, said Lorenzo. Our work here is done. Wait, said Mrs. Watson. It's almost time for breakfast. Oink, asked Mercy. That's right, breakfast, said Mrs. Watson. She kissed the top of Mercy's head. She looked up at the firemen, and she asked them, Do you boys like toast? Chapter 11. Where do you think they're going to go eat? In the Watsons' house, around the Watsons' kitchen table, sat Eugenia Lincoln and Baby Lincoln, and Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson, and Ned and Lorenzo. And Mercy, of course. She was at the head of the table in the seat of honor. And in front of her, on her favorite blue plate, was a very tall stack of what? Hot buttered toast. A toast to Mercy, said Mr. Watson, holding up his glass of orange juice. A toast to our darling, our dear, said Mrs. Watson. A toast to Mercy, said Baby. Someone doesn't look very happy in this picture, do they? Not Eugenia. In my opinion, said Eugenia, pigs should not be toasted. In my opinion, pigs do not belong at the kitchen table. To our hero, said Mr. Watson. Where would we be without Mercy? Yes, said Mrs. Watson. Who would have saved us? Wait a minute. Did Mercy call the fire department? I can't imagine, said Ned. Me neither, said Lorenzo. And they all clinked glasses, and Mercy had another piece of toast. Chapter 12. Outside the Watsons' house, the sun was rising. First the sun was red, and then it was orange, and it rose higher and higher. And inside the Watsons' house, Mercy was lying on the couch. She was getting ready to take a nap. Bright, bright is the morning sun, sang Mr. and Mrs. Watson together. But brighter still is our porcine wonder. Mercy smiled. She closed her eyes, and she was asleep before Mr. and Mrs. Watson even finished the song. The end. Did you like the chapter book? There is a lot of books about Mercy. So, if your mommy and daddy go to the library or look on the computer, they can find others' adventures about Mercy Watson, which I'll probably read to you too. But the next time we come back, I'm going to read to you another story from a different author. So, say goodbye to Mercy for now, and I'll say goodbye to you too. Bye.